Okay, I can go down and, you can talk about me while I'm gone.
I mean, I can.
Thank you.
Hell, we're gonna do that right in front of you.
Oh, good.
I think we're scared,
Where
I'm
is it on
not.
the website?
Dana, you're presenting your proposals, I'll go make copies.
You
Russ,
know how to do it?
Russ, where is it on the
Put
website?
Oh, okay.
Russ, where is it on the website?
So it's under the planning board. Well, no wonder I couldn't find it. I'll go do that.
Okay.
It might take a minute to get all the copies come out.
I was hoping I wasn't going first.
Dana, you're really the only one here who can go.
Administration
give us- set the
assessing
stage,
building,
set the stage.
emergency
Give
management,
us the-
finance, fire
Give us the
services.
overview.
Pretty high floor.
I don't see planning board under departments. Administration.
Are you ready for me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have a few projects that I have on here. You could pass that down, I'd be very grateful. You may have some left over. And I'm sorry for my handwriting, but I couldn't figure out how to type it on the form, so. This first one,
Here's another.
really comes under the heading, I guess, of the town hall. And it's for tree removal. And we were told, probably an extra one for you, Wendy. In that, I have a quote from the tree company. There are two trees in back of the building that Brenda was concerned are gonna come down on the building. I don't know. So we got this estimate, which is $8,700, and I've had it for 6 months or so. So I'm thinking it would be a good idea not to let that happen. And
Not only does it endanger the building, but if you get some sun in there, you know, it keeps the moisture in the building, so you get more sun in there and it's gonna.
we don't get, I mean, this is right in back of the building. We don't own very much land there, so that woods is pretty thick, but I hear what you're saying. So,
My office, I don't know why you gotta go off
well, you know,
Two oh
it's
eight?
headed toward Wendy. It's kind of over there.
Up there?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the ones along the,
No, those look a little sketchy too in places, but I'm not sure if those are ours. So I've estimated 9,000. We have a tree person here that might know better than me, but that's, since I got the quote, that's what I put in.
For two trees, is that right?
Says 8, right?
It says 8.
Yeah, maples, ash, and pine.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
8, the two that are, I'm thinking of are the ones that are,
Yeah, the big
Yeah.
pines.
yeah,
So you're taking some maple, ash, and the pine.
yeah,
Ash probably dead,
probably,
yeah.
yeah.
Or 9.
Well,
What about the pine, are they gonna take that?
Well, they've got here,
I
8
mean,
trees.
it's not much good for fireworks, what I'm saying.
Oh, I would imagine, hopefully they would,
The pine?
I imagine I have to
People
arrange
use
with them
syrup.
what they're doing with the wood.
Yeah, people who
Yeah.
do syrup like pine. At least my
Yeah.
neighbor does.
Yeah, but you gotta get them to come in and grab it.
He might.
Is it good for kindling?
No, but it's good for
It isn't,
sap.
yeah.
It's good for sap,
Oh,
for
is it? Okay.
doing maple syrup, at least according to my neighbor.
Yeah,
Well, they're leaving the firewood.
Yeah. I would say he's probably picking up the pine by the looks of that quote, wouldn't you say? I mean, it looks like it would, he's leaving the firewood, but pine's not firewood.
right, I
So-
don't know, are they any good?
Oh, I don't know, I would imagine they're big scrubby old things that bear up in the middle of them.
Okay, I'm okay with
Okay, so
it. I don't know
that's,
how
I'm
anybody else
gasping at
feels.
the price.
yeah, I know.
everything is double, triple what it used to be last year, so.
That's the truth.
I had one of these giant pines taken out of my yard a couple of years ago, and I think it cost me almost $2,000.
And this is 8
Wow.
trees.
You know, this one tree that I had. Okay. I'm gonna get there yet. All right.
Do we have to vote on this?
I didn't know how you wanted to go. You-
Is this the
Am I
only,
in charge here?
is this
You
the
are.
only quote we got?
Sorry,
This the only quote we got for the trees?
that's the only one. We would get
And how do you
more.
think it's
We
reasonable?
would get more.
Yeah, no,
obviously.
that's all right. I was gonna have those maples taken down in front of my house. They wanted 15 grand, so
Oh,
it's all right.
yeah, and I,
All right, so, does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
am I even voted on enough to do it? I know it's the first night, so do I need to be anything?
This is just a, well, this is just a,
This is a subcommittee, yeah.
Do we actually vote on each of these things?
You're a member of the CIP committee, so I'm as soon as you.
Were you ready to vote now, or do you want to wait till you have the whole gamut? And
No, I want to do
There are
it
four of
item
us.
by item. by
Yeah,
item.
that's the
Five of us.
easiest,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, get it off the
Marlo's the
table.
only one missing.
Oh, all
But
right.
since this
I
is
make a
kind of-
motion that we approve this.
Well, could I ask, do we have any other quotes?
We do not now, but before the job was done, I would need to get more quotes. So I would get,
This is over the 5,000 limit, so we need to get more quotes.
yeah, actually, the quote figure now is 10,000.
10,000.
However, it's enough, so I'd want to have a few
Yeah.
quotes to bring to the board before I,
Well,
You know,
if
with
we
it.
vote for this, are we voting for 9,000 or 10,000?
I would vote for what figure that I've given you, and if it's more, I'd have to do something else. And again, I got a quote for 8,700.
This is 6 months old, right?
6 months
Oh,
old.
yeah.
Yeah, so it may not be any good.
We all know prices aren't the same as they were 6 months ago.
No.
Would it be fair to up that a little bit and say vote up to expenditure?
I mean, if, like, say, if Eric comes back in with he says that quote is no good, right? Okay, so I'm just the worst case scenario. You're gonna get a couple more quotes, so you could call Old Yankee Tree and
Yeah.
and just make sure Eric is good with this. And then, is 2 fine to you guys, or you wanna get more?
Oh, I typically get 3, but that's just me.
Yeah? But I mean.
I'm just thinking about what number we want to put in the CIP.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
thinking,
the-
if
that's
this
the
is
bottom
6
line.
months old and what's happened to prices, I wouldn't mind rounding it to 10 and
That makes
try
sense.
and not spend that.
Yeah, that's
Does anybody
good.
else have any comments? All right,
What do you
let's,
I
think,
amend
Rob?
my motion.
I think that's a good idea. We gotta put a little bit of extra in there, because things have gone up in 6 months.
So my motion would be move that we approve up to 10,000 for the tree removal behind the building.
okay, now second the motion.
Okay.
Sure, 10,000.
Stealing my.
Community,
Well, he's
right?
gonna have to come, if it isn't, he's gonna have to come. All right, all in favor of spending up to $10,000 on this, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, looks like we're unanimous.
And Eric does a good job. I've used him in the past.
He was my cheapest one when I had to have a big, after my fire, a big
But it's still
maple.
good to check for.
I just realized Russ is downstairs. You made the motion.
Yes, Susan
Thank you.
and Craig second.
And Grace.
That's an
Unanimous.
Although he's got the,
Oh,
Does the Creighton still own the piece of land out
Yes.
back? They do.
it's
Yeah.
this-
I spoke with Mr. Creighton. I don't think he's well now, but
No.
I spoke with him some time ago about it.
So, let me just ask, just getting off the subject a little bit, would he mind if the trees were dropped out on his property and then?
To be honest with you, I did
picked up?
not ask him that.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure they weren't his trees.
Yeah,
That would cut the price, wouldn't it? If they don't have to have a boom truck come in here to
Right.
take those trees down.
yeah. It's just a thought, but who knows what would, it's tight out there, so it's hard to say. I'd have to look at it, but.
All right, I printed up a meat and potatoes part of this.
Did you get the town office one?
Rob, you want to get one of those?
I did, yeah.
This is all the charts and what we updated the year.
Oh, is
says
that
top
meat's
tier,
not
yes, I have
fish?
it.
Are
Okay.
you not a fish man?
Nope.
I think I printed 2. Okay. But there's one for Wendy. Yeah, has one. And his is in color.
Yeah, bird.
Did you bring extra pens?
You can take mine.
I'm gonna.
All right.
Thank you.
I don't mind sharing.
No, I know.
I have
you
an
don't.
extra one.
I'll steal yours so I can take notes.
Don't forget where you got it.
I thought that tape's taking notes.
Yeah, but if I take notes, it's faster. When I
Good.
do the minutes.
All right.
All right.
So we've got 10,000 for the trees.
Yeah.
The next, this also comes under the town hall. I can
Is this the
pass it
copier?
down.
You already handed out copier.
Oh, I did? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
giving you the wrong one. All right, I'm sorry, let's do the copier. Yeah. I know. Obviously, the copier is a real workhorse in the office. I'm not sure how old the present copier is. The former assessors gave it to the town. Wendy, you might know.
It's probably been in our possession for at least 8 years.
You know, and the man that services it says, you know, you're gonna start having problems getting parts for this. So, I'm proposing that we put this off for a couple of years, but I am asking for 10,000 for the year 2025.
Is that a fair, is that a cost? Is that a fair cost?
I've talked to the, Russ ran me something off the internet, it's 8,500. I've talked to the serviceman, because it depends on a lot of
Right.
things you have on the copier. But I think 10,000 is a good figure.
Could I ask why we don't lease a copier?
Well, that's a good, you could do that. I think we don't probably, because this one was given to the town as a gift.
Right.
So,
Well, usually they'll swap them out when they start to get too high in numbers, but I don't know what the prices are right now for
I don't
lease
need the
versus
Barbara,
purchase.
I haven't checked.
We had some leases in the past, they were the little Panasonics. There's one still in Michelle's office, and I believe the police department had one from our office.
Uh-huh.
I think we swapped them around. The one that was in Michelle's, which was a Panasonic, went to the PD, and then ours, that was in our office, went when we were given this particular copier. So, because this one has more capabilities and it does color. The others were just plain black and white.
Makes
But
sense.
they did end up having part problems with them. I know the PD has already replaced their copier with another one this past year. I don't know what that one does. I haven't been down and seen it, but anyways. And we did lease those. They were leased through Twin Rivers.
I think what you're telling me is that at the end of the lease, you can buy it or they
You can
give
buy
it to
it
you.
You
out.
have a lease purchase option, yeah.
Do
How
you
much-
remember, Wendy, if the prices were better if you leased?
I
than-
don't. I don't remember how
Then
much they were at that time, because that was quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
But Twin Rivers is the person that services our units for us, and he always has given us a good deal and excellent service. I can't say anything bad about,
A
you know,
good
what
deal on
we've had.
sale, you mean?
Yeah.
Sale of copiers?
Yeah, he sells them. He sells Conicas, he sells, what was the other one he told us we should look at? Canon? And
I
something
guess,
else.
yeah.
Yeah,
We have a sort of Minoka now.
yeah, Minoka, yeah.
I think he's fair.
Yeah,
I
he's
would agree
fair.
with that.
So like if you bought this outright, can you get a maintenance agreement on it so they can clean it
Yep.
once a year
Yep.
and do all that stuff?
That would be a
So-
yearly charge.
So,
which
so
we'd have
could
to-
you figure out, could they give you a cost of leasing that and then with the maintenance, like after, when it's all over and done with, what it would cost to buy out? And then if you could get a maintenance agreement on it
Okay.
down the road?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a thought that, you
Makes
know.
sense.
Do we need a color copy?
Well, I think it's nice to have it. Do we need it? Could we survive without it? Yes, of course.
Now that we're not doing the town report in-house,
Right.
we survived without it.
Yeah.
But when we were doing the town report in-house, it was very handy because the cost per page, if you were to have it done by an outside printer, was astronomical. So, and I know that recently, I think the Historical Society used the color
We did.
copier.
We did.
So,
It was nice.
yeah.
It is
yeah.
probably good to
So,
have, yeah. And I agree with the lease program, because you pay per copy, I think is how most of those
Right.
lease things work. So if it's
Right.
color, it's a certain price, but if you don't have to
Yeah,
use
black
it,
is a certain price
Yes.
and color.
You
is a
keep
Color's
it
certain
more
down
price.
expensive,
anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
And you have we allow so many copies, and then they take the reading, and see.
And then if
where we
we're
are.
over, they send us a bill.
Yeah.
I'm
But if
thinking-
you owned it, they wouldn't, there's no bill
Probably
or
there
anything.
would be, with the maintenance agreement,
Yes.
yeah.
Because they might have to maintain one.
You know, I think
How
they
many
figure that
comments?
into the maintenance costs. And do you remember how much we pay right now for maintenance? Which doesn't include
It's-
toner, but.
No, it's usually per call, so I don't know, we haven't had them in for a while, so.
I'm thinking of another machine, but anyway, I was
Yeah.
thinking it was probably
Maybe
around
because of the
$1,000.
picture that I was,
1,000 per year?
Per year, yeah, yeah.
Sounds about right.
So, but I can check into,
Lease.
the lease option.
Yeah.
Well, you are proposing for 2025 to replace this copier, so I think it's probably a good thing to set aside 10
Yeah.
grand toward that, and you've got a year to figure out whether lease or purchase is better.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you know, the whole purpose of capital improvement is to plan in the future.
Yes.
Do we do 10 or do we do 5?
I only worked for
5?
towns for
2
25
old?
years before I knew that.
So do we need
yeah,
it?
Dave- Dave,
I think you do the 5.
Do we
to
do
5.
10 years now, or do we 5 and 5, and then keep it a little lower but consistent? So it's not like a spike in nothing?
That's kind of what you really want, is to even out your spikes. And so if you plan, in other words, this money would go into the capital reserve fund, and that way you don't have to hit your, well, obviously it comes out of the budget, but you don't have to hit it all at once.
So, yeah, so what I'm saying is instead of voting for 10 to
But
go
you
in
could,
this year, do
if-
5.
I think what you're saying,
And we
you
just repeat
could
that next year.
cut that down if you wanted to do, say like you wanna do 3 years, 3,300 or something like that.
Yeah.
A year or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but in 3 years, that copier's gonna be much more expensive.
So you
I was
plan
thinking
for
like
that, do
7,000
4,
this year, 7,000 next.
When I got the 10,000 number, I used that by going with the interest rate, the average interest rate for 30 years, and then I did the math and what it costs now and what it would be there.
I'm
So
sorry,
that,
you did the math on the interest rate for,
the 30-year interest rate for inflation.
yeah,
So I calculated inflation into the cost we were asking.
and that's how you came up with the 10?
That's how I came up with the 10.
So if we bought it today, it'd be like 8,500 or something?
Right.
Okay.
Now granted, inflation's been a little crazy lately, but
So does, is there any more discussion on this?
Bill, we're gonna put 5 into 23 and 5 into 24?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see a lower but more even.
Would you like me to come back with the, what the lease cost would be before you decide?
That would be good. I think
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not a bad idea.
I mean. it's up
Lease
to-
maintenance agreement,
Well,
right?
I'm happy letting you take care of that.
I can do that too.
Is that where we're going, 5 into 23 and 5 into 24?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, do
that's
I
where-
want to make a motion on that, or? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to evenly distribute the 10,000 into 5 and 5 for the following 2 years.
So, excuse me, just so I understand, I had originally proposed this for what, 25?
Yeah.
Are you talking about 5 and 24, 5 and 25, or starting 5 and 23?
23 and 24, and if we have the money, because it may go sooner, if not, and we have the money sitting there, we may not have to allocate more.
Fair enough, okay, thank you.
Just to give you that buffer in case it does
Yeah.
break down sooner.
Okay.
I'll
Do
second.
we, all in favor of the motion, say aye, raise your hand.
We have a second on that, too?
Susan gave us.
Okay, ready for my next disaster? This is also for the town hall, and I should have really copied it all, but, this is for, ADA upgrade of the building. We have a few items that have been brought to our attention. They don't look like a lot now, but we have to replace, the sinks in the bathroom and get them so that someone can wheel their wheelchair and fit under the sink.
It's not for the ones up here, it's for the
It's
ones
the ones on the
downstairs.
ground floor.
Downstairs.
Yeah, the ones on
Yeah,
the ground
because I was
floor.
gonna say that.
This
These
report
ones
I'm
are-
giving you that was done last January was done by our life safety man, Tom Bay, did that. So most of things on there are low-hanging fruit that we can take care of. But it's the sinks that would have to be replaced. And I spoke with a plumber a few months ago about it, and I was lucky that he stopped long enough for me to talk to him, because it's very hard to get plumbers.
Yeah.
I'm estimating that would be $5,000, and I'd like to do that as soon as possible, and I'm hoping it's less than that.
How many sinks we're replacing here?
2.
$5,000?
Well, I had.
Well, there's a bunch of other things here, handrails.
I thought he was just talking about the sink.
Well, there are some other things, but basically the high-cost item is the sink, is what I should say. The other things are more or less, we can afford that out of the operating budget. Handrails installed, and
This hallway ramping,
coat hooks, soap dishes.
signage.
You only have a coat hook in the back of the door, you know, in the bathroom, I guess.
Okay, my chair looks good in my office.
I usually am not wearing my coat while I'm there, so. but-
Any discussion on there? Ideas? My voice.
How can the mirrors, they're gonna have to be lowered too,
Yep.
Right, because the sink will be lower.
right?
ADA wall mount bathroom sink, $280, but then again, we have a plumber, and plumbers cost a lot of money.
That's what it costs just for the mirror.
No, this is sink. I just.
Oh, really?
I was just
Oh.
curious, I looked up, they don't, that was a relatively cheap one, this one.
Well, if it's less than $5,000, I don't have to bother you people about it. I'm not.
The toilet and areas around them have an attic amount of room? Did you mean ample?
Well, what did he write? Attic?
An attic amount of room for wheelchairs, the grab bars, and in the right place.
I think he must mean ample.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I was just trying to make sure I
Or
understood what
adequate.
he's saying.
Yeah,
Maybe
or
he meant
adequate,
adequate,
maybe,
too.
yeah.
So
Maybe we should change
if
the
this,
station.
Say what?
A changing station too at some point.
so
For
you
the-
want,
yeah.
you wanna do
That
this
has been a
next
problem.
year?
I'd like to
did.
get it done next year. Ideally, I'd like to take it out of the ARPA money, but I'm not sure
Have enough.
if we're gonna have enough.
Of course, yeah, these prices I've
We
seen,
gotta
they
be
don't have
compliant for
any
the town hall,
support.
it's a town building. So if they're saying we gotta meet that code, we gotta meet that code, yeah.
So I'm happy allocating 5,000, I mean, if he doesn't spend it, it
Goes back.
It goes back,
Yeah.
so, and it's gotta be done, so. Any other thoughts?
Mr. Mock is flabbergasted, I can tell. by the
Seems
look on
like
his
a
face.
lot of money.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the old school pretty quick.
I don't think it'll probably cost that much,
I don't either.
but plumbers are expensive.
But I brought it to you at 5,000 because I was proposing it for this program.
And we can
Although,
shop around.
I had a few plumbing things done recently here,
Yeah,
and the outside faucet cost us $600 to fix. Now, I could have come and probably
what did they
fixed
do,
it.
put a new faucet on?
They put a new faucet
Do
on.
anything inside?
Yes, because of course, the pipe, we had never seen one before. And it had to be taken out and a new pipe put in.
Where was the faucet put in?
I didn't,
Where was the faucet put in?
it's right next to the library.
Oh,
It-
okay.
We had one there
Because we have
before.
one out back.
No, yeah, this one was over here.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this matter?
I would say if we're going to do this, have it go up to 5,000.
No more than.
You wanna make a motion here?
No,
Can do it.
I guess I don't really know how I wanna say that, so it doesn't really upset you. I
think
make
I'm
a
gonna be
motion
upset?
that
It's not gonna happen.
we will put the 5,000, toward it, but not to go over it.
Not to exceed.
We understand.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
And this is my last one, you'll be pleased to know. This one is
Oh, needy.
Yeah.
to replace the computer server, and I am talking about 2029, because we have to replace the computer server next year. And so they tell me that they have about a 5-year life for the operations that we're using. So if we put one in 23, by 28, 29, we'll be ready for another new one. I think it was $30,000.
Wow.
Again, the quote this year is what you've got in your packet, 25 for the one that we're looking at now. And again, this would be more than one quote that we would get for this.
Jeez, bro.
So, do we have a IT group that maintains?
We have a consultant that we use, yes. It's these people actually, Computech, yeah.
And so they maintain the system,
They do,
right?
they do. We have problems with
And
it.
how
They-
often do they come?
Well, depending on what we have happening. The server has been a workhorse, so it hasn't really failed, although they've had to come and do things to, when they have upgrades to the accounting system, and also the new program we have with record retention. They had to put more memory.
Memory. And then it's also gonna be running out of its support.
And it,
So it's
again,
reached the age where the companies that developed it are no longer gonna support it, and they're no longer gonna update it, so there will be no security updates going forward. So that is also an
it's a
issue.
Dell server, and I think it's about 8 years old.
Have you
It's
ever
a
tried
monitor.
that Gannard's in Kentucky?
No, we haven't.
No?
No.
Should look into him.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a thought.
No,
I
that's
use
good
him.
to know.
Yeah, we use him at the house,
Okay.
and he's a pretty good guy. Reasonable price.
Yeah, that, you know, I used to work in IT.
You did?
But, yeah. That was,
Thought you were in the
Correct.
logging business.
well, that too, but there's a lot of careers in there.
Yeah.
The server itself is not so expensive. I mean, you can buy a server for $5,000 or something. But it's the maintenance of the thing, you know, when they come out and, you know, they're charging a pretty good rate and the software's expensive.
Well,
and-
I mean, they're saying, what, the one that, we're not probably gonna buy this one, but if, the one that we're kinda looking at for next year, we're expecting to cost around 25,000. And of course, you have to have all these licenses and
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the labor.
The labor and the
Yeah.
licenses, that's what's
Yeah.
gonna kill you.
What is this server serving?
It runs the accounting system, it runs the assessing system, it runs the town
Everything.
clerk records,
Tax
the tax collector records, plus all our files are on the server.
Well, there's actually two servers, and one is a backup. I mean, if one fails.
It's a good thing to have.
Right.
So you're talking about server licenses, you can see 3 licenses.
Oh, I missed that. And 10 users.
Labor's 10 grand on that.
Wow.
Records retention, I heard that.
Yeah.
Is that also going to be on this server?
Yes.
What are you retaining?
Instead, we're going from paper records to electronic records.
Yeah,
And so all the property files, for example, will be electronically available. All the select board public items, which is most of the select board file cabinet. We have a room downstairs, the vault room is just full of records from years and years and years and years. and
you're
we're
gonna start
hoping to-
scanning them?
And they're
They
gonna be,
started
that's part of the
scanning. Took 6
agreement,
boxes
they're
this
gonna be
week.
scanning.
Yay.
They actually have someone whose job it is to go through this stuff and scan everything, you know?
And then they're gonna categorize it, label it, put it into the software and send it back, and then we'll have it ready to go.
I
And
wish they'd done that
eventually-
before they cleaned the vault. We're still looking for things out of there.
Is there any
It used to
money
be
in that?
In what? The
The
vault?
vault?
Depends on the time.
There might be a dime here and there.
Yeah,
Well, okay, let me go backwards. You said this one you're replacing this year, that we.
This, I am not talking about the one that we have to replace this
That
next
one
year.
is 25,000?
Yes. that's
So
why
putting
I'm
in
estimating.
25,000 for 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
I think it
30, he was
was
putting
5
in
years.
30.
I had added another
5 to 6.
5,000 or 4,500, for another, thinking that that's probably, I'd be close in 5 years.
Yeah, these servers are, have a
Where
lot
is
of,
that?
I doubt they're dropping in price and it's gonna be more expensive in 5 years.
You could be right.
Although computer stuff tends to get cheaper.
That's been my experience.
where is the money coming from for the 25,000 this year?
We have it in technology.
It's already reserved.
Yeah.
And I just looking at the same scenario here, it looks like we're starting to save for it in 26. If we came in at it earlier, can we do 5,000 a year and still get to the same 30 in 28?
Mhm.
Good thinking.
Maybe we do that, just plan for it that way.
Yeah.
Hurts a little less.
So from 23 to 28.
Yeah, it's not as big a bite.
But 5,000 each year. Yeah, that would
Like-
still give you your 30.
Yeah, I'm just saying we need it, so it's not like something we can get around.
So if something goes wrong, we got some money in there.
Yeah. Start earlier. So I'd make a motion, based on your research and the needs of the town, to allocate 5,000 to still reach the 30,028 for a new, system, server system.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Rob, say that one more time, as far as 5,000 starting when?
In 23,
23.
budget year 23.
Oh, starting right away, okay.
And who seconded it?
I second it. Okay, any more discussion or vote?
May I just ask a
Yeah.
really quick question? I'm looking at the reserves, and is this the technology ETF reserve? Or am I
Yes.
looking at the wrong one?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah.
It says there's $7,446 in there. How are you buying a $20,000 server this year?
Well, part of that is also gonna be the ARPA money.
What is ARPA?
The
American Relief
American
Plan.
Rescue Plan, the town got $210,000.
How cool.
Because of COVID, I mean, it started out, you had to prove that you lost revenues, and then it's just gone down from there, and now basically anything associated with the town goes.
Do we have that
That's where
now?
we're paying
Do
for
we have to apply for it?
digitization of
No,
records
we've
too.
applied for it, and we have it,
We have it.
we have it.
So
And
let's
it's
back
still
up,
down.
Mike. How come why is some of this, so how much money out of that 210 have you spent already?
100-something thousand.
So you got
We got about 100,000.
100 left?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's ease some pain.
Yeah. And the reason I put it here is because I'm not sure that that's what's going to happen. The select board may decide to do something else with the ARPA money.
There are lots of requests in right now to spend the opera money on different departments. They've come
On
in
repair of a
and
lot of
asked.
things.
Yeah, and some of that 100,000 has already been spent. For example, the digitizing of records didn't come after the first 100,000. That's coming out as we do it.
The driveway was done here, the pad at the fire department was fixed with ARPA money.
My. I was gonna ask you what you did with the money.
Yeah.
You should know that not all of the funds have been funded at this point either. We don't fund capital reserves and expendable trust funds, the majority of them, until the tax bill comes out for December. And then I will fund the rest of them. We fund intermittently already this year, but not all of those that you're looking at. And that was only through July,
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at the balances in the trust funds?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I am.
yeah.
so.
Was there a limitation I know I'm getting off topic, I'm sorry.
no.
No, go for
On
it.
the ARPA funds, what could you use it for? Anything you desired?
Well, no, it's not quite all that loose, but things like, putting it toward a server or, I've lost my train of thought. Where-
So
Safety.
infrastructure, like, you
Public
know,
safety items, building items, fire trucks, police cars,
very
so,
nice.
yeah. It is very nice, and it evolved over, I mean, it started off, I mean, I have reams of paperwork to do to account for it, but we have to fit it into those categories.
That's why they have so many federal employees, because they require all that paperwork and somebody's gotta file it.
Well, you know, and these grants are great, and I'll put away my soapbox in a minute. However, the money comes from us,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
taxpayer, right here.
that's right.
Know how that works.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like the idea of the 5K per year.
Yeah, okay, so we have a motion on the floor to put in 5K a year for 6 years.
Starting in 23.
Excuse me?
Starting in 23.
Starting in 2023. Any more discussion? Let's take a vote. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 I'm gonna, you just, write it down. I guess so you're gonna take some of that ARPA money, it's gonna.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe,
Yeah.
you don't know for sure,
We're talking about the one next year is what we're talking about, not the one you're voting on.
okay? All right,
So
so
what happens if that falls through?
Well, it can't fall through because if the server fails, we're out of business. So, we'll have to find it
Mission
somewhere,
critical?
you know.
Is ARPA every year, or is this like a one-time?
No, this is a
shot?
one-time shot.
That's what I thought.
This is a one-time shot.
Okay, so the only problem you'd have of replacing the server is going to be if the select board decides they want to spend the money on something else.
If they disagree with me and want to spend the money on something else, however, we
It
would
is
have to
mission
find the
critical.
money
Somewhere.
someplace.
Yeah.
But what we're voting on here is that we're gonna put aside this money,
for 2028,
yeah, exactly,
down,
down the road. This is not.
happening tomorrow.
That's right.
And that puts 30,000 in there by 2028. I like it.
Okay. Next item.
What's next?
I didn't make another thing for this, but last year you had put 10,000 in 2023 for painting, and we still have this painting issue. So I'd like that to stay there, the cupola needs to be painted.
I mean, the paint is peeling.
Painting on the outside of the building?
Yeah.
or the-
Outside.
Yeah, that's because of moisture, right?
Yeah.
Right, so I mean, we must have some sort of problem
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
needs to
say,
be
if you
addressed.
paint over it
Yeah.
in 2 years, 3 years.
Because it really hasn't been, I don't think, that long since it was painted,
Yeah.
How long?
you know?
Maybe 4 years.
You got a moisture problem?
It's looking
We just
horrible.
went through that with the meeting house.
Mm.
Why do we have to paint every 3 to 5 years? Yeah. And it was
Well-
water.
I mean, yes and no, the rain is pounding, what's the cupola you're talking about?
The cupola plus
Well,
the
right out
front.
here,
Oh,
too.
out front here.
The,
On the
the
side.
building
We can
is
open the door and have a
siding in the
look.
back, and I think that's
Yep.
And the north side's
Yeah.
got the trees and it's kind of moist over there.
So we're talking at the front, you'll, if you were to look at it, you'll
Yeah,
see
I
that
do.
it's peeling, and then the cupola is also in disrepair.
Now, I know we've been this route before, and I know we did vinyl on the back. Was there any reason why we can't do vinyl on the front?
Well, last year you asked me to talk to the Historical Society, and I haven't done that yet, but I can. But my own opinion is, I think it would be a mistake to put vinyl on the front of the building.
Aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, be like putting it on the
You
meeting
know,
house.
I mean, vinyl's great, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
The house is right.
it saves you a lot of things, but.
Yeah, and it looks horrible, because it has to
Dirty?
be power washed all the time.
Oh, okay.
I have a White House and I power washed it when I first moved back here.
Really?
15 years ago.
Wow.
Haven't done it
Wow.
since. It's just fine.
But I have seen some that it's like, you know, it's like green. Or
Yes.
There's a house in Battle Street that's,
They fade,
yeah.
yeah.
This with the trees would be,
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a lot of your problem, is there's no air.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why you're having issues with the.
It's not drying out.
So
Not
here,
drying out.
This side of the building,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Uh,
Well, I agree.
It does
with
if the
you.
wood's
Yeah.
I
dry.
think we should look at taking those trees, taking some of those trees on the north side.
Okay, we can look at that. I'm not sure how far we own there, but we.
And ask,
Just
when
ask
you get,
forgiveness.
well, when you talk to the,
I don't have to stick a tree up back up.
when you talk to the painter, ask him about the peeling problem and ask him, if taking the trees down would help.
Okay, I will.
We had Jim Garvin come around the meeting house every month for 2 years and take moisture meter readings of the clapboards. And that told us whether the clapboards were rotting or they were just retaining too much moisture to hold paint. And that might be something that you can, do here to find out if there's an underlying problem and just, repainting it is going to solve the problem, or we'll be back here in another 3 years.
Yeah.
good idea.
Would he come over with his meter?
Dr. Jim Garvin is busier. He was very, very wonderful to do it for us, but no. Actually, Mark Kimball is our buildings and grounds person. He has one. He has a moisture meter reading, moisture meter. It's not a real amazing contraption. You just basically have to know what kind of wood's under there, set your meter for that, and just put it to the building, and it'll tell you what the moisture content is.
Yeah, they generally have two problems.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well, at any rate, there's something happening.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just painting it again is not gonna solve the problem.
No, I'm not
We
suggesting
need to
that.
find
Yeah.
what the problem is,
Right.
and maybe it is taking down those trees, who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a moisture problem in the basement here, in the bottom?
No.
So I don't think that's it.
No.
Okay,
Thank
it
goodness.
probably is airflow.
So that's all from me, Craig.
Let me back up a little bit. You've allocated 10 grand for painting and we haven't used it, is that right?
You allocated last year for 2023, 10 grand, and no, it hasn't been used.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was that put into reserves? Oh, was it?
Yes, you
Yeah.
So we have 10 grand anyway
Yes, you
in
do, yeah.
reserve for this
Yeah.
job?
Yes, you do.
Okay,
I'm just asking if we can keep it there.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
We need to do the job.
yes.
I have heard a lot of talk about making this building compliant with ADA compliant.
Mhm.
How is it that we have never had come before us anything to do with handicap access to the bottom floor?
We fixed out front at one point. Didn't we pour a concrete slab in front of the front door to make that leveled up? A few years back, Wendy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but just the handicap, they still gotta step up to that pad to come in.
No, I think they can roll right in.
Yeah, I
They can roll
thought, I didn't think it was a
Yeah, that one-
step hall,
that's
I
what
think
we
it's,
fixed.
I think it's like a ramp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the
Yeah.
things that we
Yeah.
also have to fix in the back, because we don't have it.
But we were accessing the front because we had the town
Yeah.
clerk and everybody else, so that
Right,
was the
I
important
think
one
that
back then.
people in a wheelchair can get
Back
into
out
the
here is-
downstairs.
Comes right in flat.
Well, they can get in up here too if they go around the
Yeah.
building, but.
Right.
I guess we missed the bathroom.
And I have the recommendations from the transfer station, from Dan Blanchett. They are requesting a trailer in 2023. They estimate the cost is gonna be $100,000, Webster's share is $25,000. They also want a 10-yard packer in 2023. The estimated cost is $158,600, Webster's share is going to be $39,650. And they want another trailer in 2024. With an increase in the cost, they estimate it costs $100,000. So Webster's share will be, once again, $25,000 rather than we already have that one in our project list.
As I remember, our share was like,
I don't know.
15 or 20,000 last year.
Is it
Yeah, but
this
they've
long?
done
These are over here.
that was,
Try this.
Yeah, I think there was some controversy over what the share should have been.
Transfer station.
I think the share is a percentage of the cost. I think that's the
25%.
agreement, 25%.
Which goes back to the contract.
That got
years
resolved,
and years
Paul,
ago.
but there was a conflict, but it
27?
did get resolved as to what we're supposed to be doing. But there was some questions.
And then the last thing they want is a loader in 2027. The estimated cost is $117,000. Webster's share would be $29,250.
So,
Can you pass that around?
Those are all-
117 grand for a loader?
That's what they're
So-
quoting.
Yeah, but I mean, back up on that, what are they buying, a little mini or?
I can reach out to them and ask them
Yeah.
what they're buying.
Cause that doesn't sound like nowhere near enough.
It just says loader, and it doesn't even give any details.
They don't have a little one there right now. I wouldn't expect
Right.
them to buy a little one to replace it.
What's that loader they got now?
I thought they had like well, I haven't been down there forever, but they had a cat there for
Yep.
quite a while, and I know you're not buying that for 117 grand.
Well, you used to be able to, not
Yeah,
today's
not
world.
today. Not unless,
I'm not sure if they still have the cat, I forgot a John Deere there now.
they make, so are they taking the older ones from the town of Hopkinton and then taking them to the dump?
Oh, I doubt it.
They have a loader there that's pretty new, it's like 2 years old. It's a big one.
Yeah.
So like a 624 John Deere?
At least,
We
Because
bought
that would
before I got
maybe
off
their
that committee.
old town loader.
yep.
And so they're taking the old town loader and taking it probably to the dump. And I'll bet that's what they're doing, because the 117 grand, you don't get a brand new one for that.
So on average, what are we looking at, 25 or 30,000 a year?
So I think we have it kind of correct right now. We put 30,000 for what we're gonna be doing in 2023. I think that's what that was for. And then we have the 15,000, which they said is too low because obviously prices have increased, so they're asking for a little bit more, so we have to update that. And without my sheet, I can't give you the numbers. And I think they want something in 2027, so we'd have to, if we wanted to split up that cost between all the years to get to the amount that they want for 2027.
Yeah,
Makes
most
more
of
sense
that's
to
already in
split them,
there,
right?
Correct.
I'm looking at a reserve amount of 27,000, and they're looking at 25,000 for yet another trailer. And the trailer in 2022 has been ordered, which means we haven't got the bill for it yet, right?
Correct.
That's right.
So it may use this up.
Right, that was, I think
But
that's what that was put there
That
for.
probably hasn't been funded of what we had going in for this year.
I think you have another 4,000 to add to that.
Okay, 30,000.
Yeah.
They're ordering a trailer, they have ordered a trailer. And they're saying that Webster's share of the next trailer they want to buy is 25 grand. We have nothing in there after we pay for the first one. Whoa. And
But
then
when-
there's a
when do they want
10-yard
the second
Packer.
one?
Webster's share is
They want it in
40,000.
2023, I think that's what they were saying in there.
Yeah, they definitely need a Packer, and they need another
Trailer.
trailer.
Well, your schedule here is, that has been previous, is looking at 4,000 per year or another 20,000 in 5 years. And I forget which year you said they wanted to.
Well, okay, this is what I'm looking at. They've already ordered the trailer, so that means what's in reserve is probably history.
Probably
Am I-
spent.
It'd be close, okay.
Yeah.
So next year, Webster's share is 25,000, and then they also wanna buy a 10-yard Packer next year. Webster's share is 40,000. And then there's a trailer in 2024, well, let's just worry about next year. That's $65,000
Yeah.
in 2023. Not including what we need for, let's see, the 2024 is another trailer, so another 25,000, and probably more, given how many years out. And then the loader, that's 2027, that's way out. So we need 40,000 next year.
From what they're telling us, yes, yeah.
I have a feeling that because,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I
I
have
was
a
just gonna
feeling
say
that we
last
didn't
year.
have all the correct information because the person that was in charge, one person retired, I think I'm right, and the other person that's taken over, I don't think ever gave numbers like this to the previous people that were doing the CIP.
They, the Budget Committee in Hopkinton requires a CIP, and it's this big, long spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Very carefully done, very well done,
Yeah.
actually. And I was kind of surprised to see an email where I had to crunch the numbers, and I'm no good at
Right,
this.
they didn't fill out the forms last year that we requested, and they didn't do it this year
Yeah,
either.
see, that's what I'm thinking. that we didn't have
Okay,
the
you need to
numbers
talk to the
last year.
Budget Committee over there, they'll give it to you.
Yeah,
I'm,
last year was a phone call, not even an email, so.
I don't think we've got enough information here. Because this is only a few things that are on that CIP, there's more.
Yeah.
And I can see it right here in our existing one, recycling building, they wanna remodel it, did they do that? If they haven't, should that be in the budget for next year? I think
I didn't know
we
about
don't
that.
have enough information from
Yeah,
Hopkins.
I remember that from last year.
It's
Yes,
here.
it's rebuilding,
Yeah.
recycling.
It was,
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I don't
Well, let's see if we can get more information.
Thank you. Ask them for their spreadsheet,
Okay, I
the
will.
one they hand to the budget committee, because that's got all the things that they've got in their CIP.
I have a question too. Don't we have the dump committee folks?
I made a recommendation to abolish that, but
No,
right
I'm
now,
just
we don't have
curious
one.
if we had
We
representation.
don't have
with
anyone
that.
right now
Correct.
on the.
So we don't have representation as far as what
We
they can do or
don't,
not
and
do.
it is
To-
something we.
Which feels like we're behind the 8 ball because of that a little bit, if we don't have.
I
much
would say we are. The committee's very odd.
I would say the committee is powerless. That's the
Right.
problem with the committee. The committee is powerless. We
With-
sit there and
that's
get
the problem.
information from Hopkinton
Yeah.
about what we need to give to the Webster Select Board.
And-
We have no say in the budget, we have no
Yeah.
say in anything, we
don't.
meaning the committee that I was on. There's no authority with the committee. So I recommended that they make it between Dana and Neil Cass, and then they can report to the boards, and that's the authority that would say, this is what we're gonna buy, this is where we get the money.
Because how do we say, no, you're not buying a loader, or we gotta wait 2 years, or?
You don't,
They
you're just
don't, they just
pounding
hand
your
us the
head
bill.
right against the wall with them, so.
Because if you don't
it's-
have the money at your house, you're not buying a new pickup this year, you'll.
No.
Yeah, no, with them, they just hand us the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I don't think you have much say.
No choice.
And then
And
the
the
other-
committee had no say.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we're not planning ahead. If they're saying we're doing this next year and the year after, that's just next year and the year after.
Well,
Planning ahead
these
would be 10 years
projects
from
we
now
didn't
when you
hear about
replace
last
this.
And
year.
that's their CIP that we didn't get.
Okay.
But I will ask them for it, and Neil and I are talking about the committee issues.
Are you now? Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and they need to know they can't just say suddenly next year, we want $40,000.
Right.
There needs to be advanced planning.
Well, they
And you
actually
said-
do, and it goes between, Hopkinton has a budget committee.
Yeah.
And that budget committee reviews all the CIP and everything else, so they know well in advance, they just need to share it with us when they're gonna
Exactly.
hand us a bill.
Right.
Because.
Well, I don't think we have very much information, so we do need more.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We just don't, that's the way it's been with them. You're just gonna butt heads with them, and they're gonna basically tell us what they're gonna do.
I actually found them to be pretty good. I did. We have such a sweet deal with the transfer station, we do. I mean, it's their employees that run it. you
Right,
know,
right.
We don't have to hire, fire, any of those things, discipline. They do all the budgeting and we just get the bill. And it's a reasonable price too. Actually, I saw something in here about we are charged 20%. It's not 20%, it's per capita. It's per capita, and that's changed every year. So the amount that, it's in this book here. Yeah, I know you, Bruce Johnson went after them saying, oh no, the original agreement was 20% on capital issues. No, it's not. And I remember Neil Cass saying in a select board meeting over there that they had worked that out with Bruce, but apparently it's not down here. But it's all billed per capita. Who's the state department that puts out the population statistics?
Office of State Planning.
They
Yeah.
put it out every year, and that's the calculation.
Well, that is news to me,
Ooh,
so thank you.
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So do we have another meeting before the budget needs to be finalized to put money in there? Should we be putting something in there, knowing we're gonna replace
So you're
something? or-
planning another
I've
meeting,
heard we're
Craig, aren't
having
you?
another meeting.
Okay.
Well, it looks like, it looks like.
If we put nothing in there, then we're
one.
still
Right.
even further behind.
Yeah, you
no,
gotta
we'll
get
have
that
to-
straight.
we'll have
We
to
do
get-
need better information from them, but we,
That
I
needs to
think we
get
should get the
straightened
Yeah,
out,
information
so
from them
we're,
before we make a decision.
Let's put that off until we get more info.
so we'll table that one.
And then, of course, we don't have Emmett here, and he'll be at the next meeting, and that's scheduled.
So Emmett will be at the next meeting.
Well, he would have made this meeting, but like I said to everybody else before you got here, it's his one vacation
He's
weekend,
on vacation.
weekend of the year.
When Darren was, he can't be around.
He's
I
already,
forgot he was on vacation, I must have got.
where he's going.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I wanna know, does the board want me to reach out to Emmett and try to plan around his schedule and see if he can meet us at a certain time? Cause I know he usually has fire meetings on Thursday nights.
What are the things that
Wednesday,
they
well, he has
do?
Thursdays with the,
Well,
outside fire departments,
we're gonna have to meet with him to talk about
the road stuff.
the road
I
stuff.
think you should, yeah.
Roads and fire.
So I don't know, I mean, you're gonna have to pin him down to a date, which may be hard to do.
Well, I think, yeah, I can try to do that when he comes back. Give him a couple options, maybe the board give me a few dates and we'll see what works for him
I
out
think
of
we
those
can,
dates.
yeah, I think we can.
Yep,
Yeah, because I know,
I think
Just
it's in
for
the
everybody's
75
info.
agreement. The per capita
The
is in
1975 agreement?
Go read that.
I'm gonna read it again. I was memorizing it last night, and I must not have gotten to that part.
It's a really short document.
Yeah.
I know last year that Emmett talked about buying a used ambulance.
Yep,
And I don't know what the status of that is.
that
Well,
is,
Hopkinton's still using that ambulance,
they couldn't get their new one.
Theirs is delayed.
so
Their new ambulance is delayed, so the used ambulance.
I think
they're
that's
gonna
still
buy
the plan, but it's not available yet.
Okay, I mean, we can talk about fire stuff
Yeah,
when we talk with Emmett about
we'll
it.
work with them to
So
get
do,
his plan.
Oh.
are there better days that work for everybody?
We do have.
I'm trying to figure out.
Never Wednesday.
Never Wednesday.
I mean, I don't have to be at, and every one of us
Right.
doesn't have to be at.
I'm just saying what days don't work, so when I ask
Fridays.
We
Emmett,
do need them.
not Friday, I agree with
We
that.
don't do Fridays either.
Attack tomorrow's Friday. And Mondays are usually pretty bad because of select.
Thursday's usually a good night, except for the planning.
No, yeah, Thursday's usually a good night, but Emmett, I think, goes to a regional fire department thing on
Every
Thursday
week.
nights.
Every week.
You're in trouble.
Not every week, but I think it's usually during the planning board meetings, and I'm
Right,
not sure if
that's-
it's like
that's what
once a
he
month or
said.
once a month.
Yeah, so,
Thursday, see if you can get a Thursday night for us.
Yeah. Thursday nights usually work.
and if he wants the money, he's gonna have to show up.
Tell them.
You just tell him that's
Tell
what
him,
I
Mr.
said.
Fox.
You're playing hardball.
If he wants any money, he's gotta come, like it or not.
I do have some projects he was thinking of, I just don't have numbers for.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else for tonight?
Not for me.
Not from me.
Anybody else got anything?
I'm new.
Well, we're glad you're here. I don't know your name.
Rob. Rob Walensky.
Walensky.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thanks for coming.
Actually, we never went around and said names.
Oh yeah, even for the public, that's probably not a bad idea. I'm sure there's people that.
So,
Probably should.
We have,
Are you typing the changes to this thing?
No, I
Russ
do
is.
it.
You do it.
wait, we're doing names.
well, yeah,
Rob
doing
Oh,
this-
Walensky.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
Rob Walensky, Winnapocket Road.
Barbara Corliss, Deer Meadow Road.
Paul King, Battle Street.
Craig Fournier, Deer Meadow Road.
Addie Mock, Pleasant Street.
Susan Young's Little Hill Road.
Dana Hadley, Town Administrator.
Wendy Pinkham, financial administrator.
And Russell Tatro, land use coordinator and assistant town administrator.
You got a big title.
I get the most titles.
That's why we give him the most work.
He gets the most, does he get the
He
most
did-
money too?
I bet he doesn't get the highest
Huh?
pay.
Yeah.
So we really didn't get very far down the road, did we, today? I mean, we've got emergency services, police, highways.
Well, police didn't
transfer
ask for
station.
anything new.
Oh, they didn't?
No,
They
they
didn't
did
ask for
not.
anything new, we didn't get anything from any of the boards and committees, and didn't get anything, yeah.
You really need to have this,
How nice.
transfer station thing resolved, which we
Right.
work on
Yeah.
getting resolved for you.
I'm
So
sorry,
you
the what
also-
thing?
The transfer station.
Oh, yeah.
And Emmett's budgets, which is the fire and the highway.
And the highway.
Yeah.
Wow, good.
Beyond that, we don't have anything else, right? No police?
Police have not
They did not
They
submit
don't have
anything.
anything.
They're not gonna go for another cruiser like they do every year?
Well, we're putting money aside every year, but the cruiser is like every 3 years they buy a new cruiser.
And I think there was talk about skipping this year, cause we just got the new
They just
cruiser.
got one because of
We
the,
got 2 new ones rapidly because one of them was in an accident.
Who had an accident?
one of the officers.
Well, some crazy guys
Yeah, some,
drove his car into the cruiser.
Who ran into the stone wall in front of your house the other day?
I didn't know
We'll
that.
talk about that in a minute, because I didn't understand how somebody could come across the road and hit a stone wall when he came across the road.
Actually, good example, Barbara, that was one of the incidents we transported on, actually.
You transported
So
him.
there's 2 patients, and our ambulance took our employee, the police officer, and Hopkinton took the other patient in the car, so.
Can you explain why they crossed the road and hit the stone
No,
wall
I-
on the other side? Okay, I'm just
Where-
curious.
No, I don't know about that one, I'm just saying as far as what you
this
said,
was
the
the
cruiser.
cruiser accident.
Cruiser
Oh, yeah.
accident.
You'd asked me if our ambulance transported, and
And they transported that one. That was just a couple days ago.
You have to tell me about that.
I thought there was another conversation that was going on, I only heard a piece of it, but, something about, I can't remember it now, which is bad. But in addition to that would be, if there's nothing with the police, how come? I mean, the police have always asked for more gadgets, more guns, more whatever, more, why? Where'd they get extra money that they're not here?
Well, and they are very aware of their budget and their needs, and so I do have confidence in that. I don't believe that they plan to replace the cruiser, as Russ mentioned, they have 2 fairly new cruisers, although I'm not gonna hang my hat yet, it's still early. And as far as other equipment, they've had a lot of things done up there. Their server was replaced this year because it had to
Copier.
be. Their copier was
Copier was done
replaced.
too. They also
I
got
think
the
they're
new-
in pretty good shape.
Good shape,
I think they are.
happy to hear it.
Chief's a good guy,
He's very good.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's very good.
yeah.
And, so of course, we reached out to him, Russ reached out to him to get what they needed, but they had nothing to
And then I
add.
asked them about it when I didn't get anything back, and they said they didn't have anything, so.
Way cool.
very nice.
So, enjoy that this year.
Yes, I enjoy anything that comes my way in the minute it happens.
Is our budget's gonna go up next year, you know, for what we're gonna be voting on, we're gonna be adding to the pile pretty heavy. Tax bill is gonna be going up.
It never goes down, Addie.
I understand that, I'm just trying to figure out how some of these, you know, there's a lot of people moaning and groaning
I
about
think
what
the
it's
select board
costing to
really
live.
tries to hold the line.
Yeah,
You know, as best they could. And of course, we're up against it every year, just like you are at home. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we're all in the
Yeah.
we're all in the same boat. I mean, putting gas into the fire trucks and the police, I mean, the bills are awful.
yeah, I get that.
You know,
But I think compared to other towns, I think we're doing
You're
pretty
doing
well.
pretty good.
I think that you're very lucky in Webster. I think you have a very low tax rate.
You're lucky also because the town does plan ahead, not just with the CIP, but, you know, your expendable trust funds and your capital reserves show. And I can speak for the town that I live in, which is Andover, and they haven't planned near as well as this town has always planned. And it shows with what we have invested in the, you know, the trust funds and the capital reserves. So,
It's really nice that the town does not have, we paid off the public safety building this year. So
Nice.
now we don't have any debt.
What was
Well,
the
there's-
amount on that?
The total amount?
No, what was the amount per year we were paying on that building?
40,000.
42,000 a year
Yeah,
about.
with interest,
Yeah.
42,
And
44.
we were paying 10 grand on
The dam.
the dam, right?
You still have that, I think that's until
Yeah, it's
2026.
2028, I think I read, is when they finish paying off that bond.
2026.
The solar array, is that paid off?
Solar array is paid off,
It is.
yes,
Excellent.
yeah.
So we are debt-free?
So we are debt-free, I hate to say
Other
that too
than the
loud.
Pitney Bowes machine.
Oh, other than the, yeah, postal machine I have to rent. And then if you make me lease the copier, you know.
Well, that wasn't a, you know, a loan. That
But I
was a
think,
lease.
but I think what Wendy was saying, and I think it's really been very forward-thinking, is saving money for a rainy day, so you don't get into these,
Yeah,
don't get into these situations.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks for
you're
your-
a cash town.
thanks for your view and your work on this, Wendy.
Well, it's an uphill battle because you try to, with the CIP, make everything even across the board so the spikes are not there every year when we
Right.
set the rate. And the things that we don't have any control over, like the school and the county, you know, I just got the county bill a couple weeks ago that's due the beginning of December, and that's $660,000 this year. Last year was $545,000. So, you know, everybody else is going up. What we're waiting for now to set the tax rate is the school paperwork. It's not been completed. So until that's completed, we can't go to set tax rate for the bills in December.
Holy
So-
moly. So
Yeah.
you could probably expect about the same from the school district, huh?
Well,
What's
right
the
now
school
I'm paying
district rate
I'm
now?
paying 310,000, is it?
Something like that,
301 or
310,000 a month.
310,000 a
Yeah.
month right now to the
Yeah.
school.
To the school?
Yeah, and that will change, you know, their year is different than ours. We don't we don't make a payment in June, so we pay 11 payments, during the year, you know, our year. We pay only 11 payments, and then it'll change again once the school rate is set, so.
And they
pretty-
get things with the Department of Education,
Yeah.
with grants and things, that it gets adjusted all the time.
But it's
So
pretty-
it's
pretty
very hard to
pricey.
follow.
Yeah,
So we're
Oh, I
paying,
know. I
what,
tried.
4 million plus, how much are we giving them, 330?
$301,000 a month,
A month?
For
So
11
that's-
months.
for 11 months.
So,
Yeah.
so that's
3.3 million?
3.5 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the big chunk comes in December when we pay the county. That's always
That's a one-shot deal.
that's a one-shot deal.
Six.
Yeah.
Once a year, yeah.
Clothespin Bridge, that was what I was thinking of.
Mhm.
Where are we with, I don't see anything about saving money for it. I suspect we got a grant
Well,
somewhere?
state-
No?
I have to tell you about Clothespin Bridge because, first of all, we have money for the engineering in the bridge account, in the capital reserve fund. But it is not, all right, I'll back up. We're not going to, the town is not going to have to pay for the construction. That's gonna be covered by this, thing that the president did for infrastructure that
Yeah.
happened.
The infrastructure bill would
Yeah.
include this bridge?
So,
Yeah.
it's
That's
gonna-
right, bridges and dams, right?
Things like that, yeah, and we were very lucky that we were able to do that. Now, having said that, that means the price has just gone up 200,000 because you have government regulations that you have to,
Oh, well, yeah.
But they're covering that.
that you have to, you know, that you have to,
What's the
Comply
price
with-
tag on that bridge?
well, last I
Was
knew,
two-
what was it, like,
2.8, I heard.
I don't know, Barbara, I could tell you, I have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm just
But
curious.
I don't dare guess, but.
But at the same time, they pushed us back a year, right?
We got pushed back a year, and now I'm told that because of the problem in getting steel,
I mean,
steel,
steel.
yeah,
Ooh. Another,
that could be another year.
so not next year?
I doubt it, I very much doubt it. They're gonna start working on getting the right-of-ways and the land they need to acquire to do the job.
How about over on White Plains Road, what's gonna happen there?
Well, not much, no. That, we finally have the permit.
Yeah.
The DES permit. And I'm going to be meeting with the engineer in Emmett to go over with where we go from here and how do we get the big culvert and who's gonna put it in, and someone has to do the dewatering.
Who's doing the engineering?
Mitchie Corporation in Henniker.
I was under the impression that was gonna be held off until spring, where we might get a better price.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, definitely until spring. I'm very glad, the former engineer wanted us to order the invert, or whatever you call that thing, but it would have been a nice planter out front.
Who's the engineering firm?
Mitchie Corporation in Henniker,
That's the engineer, okay.
yeah.
The new one.
He,
The new one, yeah.
he was hired to get the state permit, and they did a very good job.
And we have it, I guess,
Yeah,
huh?
and we have it now.
Just have to get the work done.
I love my little town.
How come they won't, up that weight limit on those where that's already got those 1-inch steel plates over that, culverts over there, so the school bus can go over that?
Well,
Log truck will go over it and didn't collapse it.
you need to speak with your road agent,
Well,
and I am not an expert at bridges.
I just think that, I mean, I was over the other morning, 6:30, got 4 cars sitting here with kids, school bus on this side.
Oh, I feel bad
And
for
the
them,
people,
yeah.
I wouldn't pay my taxes if I was them. I'd say, you know what? Not happening.
But then you'd have to put up with Karen King chasing you, taking your house away.
Well,
You
know,
Just kidding.
that's a good possibility, but I got a pretty good point. So if you took that to the court of law,
Wonder what would
Judge-
happen, I don't know.
yeah. And I mean, it's like,
I feel bad for them too.
right,
Yeah.
and it's 2 times a day. Some of those people have little kids and 2
Yeah.
different buses split. So I've seen one car there 4 times.
Yeah.
Twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think that those plates, you're not going through that. You know, that's holding weight. And I think they should look into.
And I'm not knowledgeable enough, Addie, to know what I'm talking about, but and I should ask Emmett this,
Yeah.
whether that's a state thing or whether
Well,
that's a town thing.
The state
Yeah.
should step in and try to do something to help those people so they don't have to, you know, I mean, this has been going on for a long
Is that
time.
Clothespin Bridge or is that
That's
White
over
Plains?
to
White
White
Plains,
Plains.
the
Plains?
culvert.
Yeah.
It will hold 120,000 pounds, so
Yeah,
it's
they're
not going
allowing
anywhere.
the buses to go over Clothespin Bridge
Right,
Yeah.
and that's worse
with
than
the,
over
with the
here,
plates.
Yeah.
you know? This year's just a short span, I mean,
Yeah, it's not
by the
very
time
fast.
the front axle of that bus is on it, it's off before the back
That's
is.
true.
And, you know, it's, you,
Well,
I
and the plow
think-
trucks go over it. I mean,
yeah,
so,
yeah, and that's heavy.
Yeah.
You know, that's heavy.
Yeah.
So I think something should, you know, if it's gonna be a while, they should maybe shim it up so it's not such a bump and try to, and have the state come out and look at what's going on. And, but I just think that those, you know, I'd hate to be the taxpayer on the other side.
Probably needs a conversation with Emmett
Or the selectmen.
or the select.
But I mean, I have those people said anything?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
Nobody's
them all.
listening, or,
I sympathize with them.
yeah,
I wouldn't like it either.
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's-
wouldn't
It's a
pay my
real,
taxes.
it's a real burden.
yeah, it is too, it's really, in the other morning,
I
it
always
was,
pay things people can take away
it
from me.
was
though.
dark out the other morning, and that was not, you know, they turn around going into the road, going into the,
Nights, man.
yeah,
How full is the bus?
not that full, it's not full. And-
I was just curious because the bus, you know, I think I see it at the beginning or end
Yeah,
of its run and there are like 4
Yeah.
kids on it. So
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Why aren't they running a smaller bus?
That's what I meant for that. Couldn't they run a smaller bus for?
Save a
well,
little
see,
gas,
then
a
it'd
little
be,
wear and tear on
then it'd
expensive
be
equipment.
running 2 different, you know, you're gonna run a
Maybe they don't
small
have
bus
one.
to pick
Or
the
have the
kids up.
drivers.
Yeah, that's
Or,
probably too. but
right,
they-
and it,
but
I
they run
think
it
they
twice
should
anyway, but-
look at those, getting that fixed, so they could cross that. That's what I think.
That
And
is
it's
the
not
goal.
going
Yeah,
anywhere,
that is the goal,
yeah.
get that repaired.
Well, I mean, to get through the winter, you know, the way it is, it's not going anywhere. I can guarantee you that.
Talk to him and
So,
I will speak with Emmett about it.
yeah, he knows anyway. I've told him,
Well, I thought you probably had.
I have.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I think we're adjourned.
You're ready to go
Thank you.
home, aren't you?
Do we have a date for the next meeting?
not
Not
yet.
until he talks to Emmett.
Talk to Emmett.
See what happens.
I don't know if we were throwing something on the calendar.
So you can't tell me why that guy crossed the road and hit that stone wall?
Well, this, it becomes separate issues as far as details, you can know we transported.
Okay, that's.
Because that's part of
Okay,
the-
then,
All righty.
yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
You didn't see
Hey.
the marks on the road?
Oh, I get it back, that's a
That one I
question.
don't-
Save that for the next time, okay?
That means I'm taking mine
Don't run
back.
all the ink out.
There you go.
Oh,
We'll
well, I
see you
had
guys.
two ambulances there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
2 days ago. I heard a crash, it was like